Good afternoon and welcome to Capture's Enrollment Management's only outcomes-based pricing webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to introduce myself. My name is Heather Mueller. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Capture Higher Ed. And joining me today, I want to introduce to you Len Napolitano, our CEO. Len, good to see you.
Good to see you again, and I'd be remiss not to say Happy Veterans Day to everyone out there.
Happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Len, do you want to get us started off about why we are here today?
I do. We, all of us in the field, have faced an enormous number of challenges over the past 9 months. Changes in our revenue, changes in our staff structure. For some of us, we've lost staff. Changes in the way that we engage with students. Many of our prospective students have Zoom fatigue, email fatigue, digital advertising fatigue. And then lastly, we're experiencing one of those seminal events that occur in the U.S. higher education system every 40 years, right? When we think about the impact the Vietnam War had, World War II, the great financial crisis of 1898, whether it's the Civil War. But these are moments that force all of us to say, you know what? How do we achieve our mission in a different way? Our mission hasn't changed. We're still going to educate the students of our nation, but we're going to do so a little differently because we're still the best at educating them. And it was all those factors that made us here at Capture say, you know what? We have to reimagine the way we serve our community, which is the U.S. education community. And so that was the impetus of today's discussion, Heather.
It's fantastic. You know, Len, as I have been a part of this company from the very beginning, we entered into the marketplace to be a different kind of partner, to leverage data in a way that allows enrollment and marketing professionals to find efficiency and effectiveness in their recruitment strategies. We've always taken a centric view of our partners. They are at the center. They're the reason why we exist today. As you can see on the screen is just a really light timeline of where we've come from all the way to the point of 2020. And I think we all who are on the webinar today know that 2020 has been a rough year. We have experienced things in this industry that we've never encountered before, right? Len, you've talked about some of the things of the past that have changed the face of education. As we have looked to the pandemic and other experiences this year, every institution has been struggling in one way, shape, or form. And so it's time for our company to rise again, to be a different kind of partner, to meet you where you are. And that's where really we have promised the industry for years to stand next to them, to be experts for them and with them. And today I'm really excited, Len, to be able to continue as a former enrollment manager and part of this company, to continue to keep that promise to this industry, to stand with them, to find a way to do business together in a way that makes sense, and in a way that respects the work that they're doing today. Len, do you want to talk a little bit about what that promise is?
I'd be delighted to. You know, when we think about outcomes-based pricing, it's really trying to solve a critical element or a stage or an area of the funnel, right? And that's the moment that someone's anonymous to when they apply. Because for many of our institutions, that's where that challenge is, right? How do I identify the right student? How do I engage with the influencers? How do I achieve those key milestones and then get them to apply? And we realized, you know what? In order for the institutions to be able to be successful at this stage of the enrollment journey, we realized we need to have a promise and a pricing model and an offering that is based upon results. That's right. That's based upon, key milestones that we agree upon together and achieve together. Because when we reimagine that relationship, both organizations can be successful. And so today's conversation is going to be about that area of the funnel, from the moment that someone's anonymous to when we identify them to when they apply. And so today we're going to talk about what that means and what's included and why institutions are being successful in that model.
Absolutely. Len, I'm so excited that our company has taken the stance of standing shoulder to shoulder, right, with the institutions in some of the harder times that we've experienced. The fact that we will share in the risk and share in the reward together is a pretty exciting moment. It is shifting, I hope, will shift the conversation about the relationship between a vendor and an institution. So to your point, Len, let's dive in and talk about what we've been hearing in the market and why we've framed the outcomes-based pricing to be focused on that moment of search or finding the prospects for institutions to the point of application. And what we've heard—
Heather, I'd be remiss. I'd love to interrupt you.
I love it. Come on.
It's something we believe at Capture since our founding, a key differentiator. It's about the right prospect.
Yes.
We realize our time is precious. Our dollars are precious. What makes our institutions great is precious. So it's not about more, but it's about the right ones. Because you have the right ones, you have better yield, better first-year retention, better alumni and donor support. So to us, it's about the right applicants. Sorry, Heather.
No, that was perfect. Thank you so much. As you can see in this particular moment, and to your point, Len, we need to be able to identify more prospects, right? The correct prospects for that particular institution, knowing that in the era of COVID, the ability to source test takers has been declining, right? Test taking centers haven't been as open as much as they could be, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's a tense moment in the industry. This has been a normal place for us to go seek lead data. And so our company has focused on building partnerships with alternative lead sources to help supplement the fact that student search is starting to change and look a little bit differently. Moreover, with the technology that we're providing with Engage, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit, we have the ability to turn the website of the particular institution into a lead generation machine. Right? So we can identify more of those prospects for our partners. Secondly, we want to focus on, once we've found the right prospects, engaging with them in real time with messages that matter to the prospective students and their families across all of the different marketing channels in order to convert that interest ultimately into an application. And that application, it's not just about getting more of them. It's making sure that we have the right fit for your institution so that applicant pool ultimately converts and yields through to the enrollments and the class that you need for 2021, 2022, and beyond. Len, can you talk a little bit about the platform and how we're configured for folks?
I'd be delighted to. And I think this concept is going to be important. So for us at Capture, we've created the only platform that combines marketing automation with predictive modeling. And that's really important, right? Because that journey of communication is ongoing, but the modeling helps us to be effective, and it helps us to understand the efficacy of our communications to ensure it's relevant. So we're able to know what's resonating, what to continue to invest in, what messaging is not working to adjust and to pivot, and inevitably enroll the right class. So now you get to enroll the right class, but then you're also able to reduce your marketing spend per student. So our behavioral intelligence platform consists of 4 products that supports the entire enrollment journey. So from the moment that someone's anonymous, that's Engage, to apply, aid, and enroll, those are our 3 predictive products, and that's the one platform. That platform is managed by a team of experts, so data scientists, creative people, content writers, account executives who were seated at their institution. And then lastly, they align it with the appropriate third-party solutions, such as search consulting, digital advertising, behavioral email, social marketing. All these things are part of the outcomes-based pricing. I want to prioritize within our platform that's included is not only the marketing automation, but the apply predictive model. So the apply product helps you understand who's got the likelihood to apply. So just in summary, it's one platform that supports the journey, that's managed by a team of experts. For today's conversation, the area of the platform that we're going to be focusing on is engage and apply, along with the complementary solutions. Did I miss anything before I go into detail, Heather?
To your point, Len, the fact that the platform is truly the industry's only single platform, one place to go to get full marketing automation in the recruitment space, along with those predictive analytics, that notion of behavioral intelligence, right? Understanding what prospective students and their families are thinking about and doing right now, in combination or in the context of what they're likely to do in the future, and using that data to power traditional marketing channel communications, right? And those are our solutions category. The beautiful part is that all of it, you don't have to worry about whether or not you can figure out how to use the platform, how long it's going to implement it, et cetera, because we've got that team of experts standing shoulder to shoulder with our partners, managing the strategies and deploying and executing each of those campaigns. So it's a pretty powerful difference maker, right? It's starting to think about it differently.
I think it's only a powerful difference maker, but I want to go back to something you mentioned. This was built for higher education. We are not, and I'm proud to say, we're not a Marketo or a Pardot, right? Because Marketo and Pardot, you're not cultivating an individual for years. And more importantly, when you have a predictive model, you're then able to say, well, then what's that next step of conversion should look like in that marketing automation? And so you need something that represents, our industry, because our students' behaviors are so unique, and it's one of the most important decisions someone's going to make. Is this the right institution for me? But also for the institution, is this the right student? Will they be successful at our institution? And so that's what excites me by having this within one offering for any institution.
Absolutely. And again, to put it in context of what we've been hearing in the market is the need. That's why we really focused on the first two components of the platform, the solutions or the marketing channels that can be best utilized and powered by behavioral intelligence to find the right prospects through the search process and convert all the way to the point of application. Len, should we dive in a little bit, get a little closer to engage? Let's start there.
And today we're just going to give you a quick overview, but always feel free at the end. We're going to give you information on how to reach out to us about if you'd like more information or even just a quick walkthrough. When you think about engage in the marketing automation, there are three core areas that are critical. Why is that? Because remember, we want to identify the individual, and then we want to convert. And when you think about conversion, think about micro conversions, right? There are constant steps to say if someone's interested in what they're interested in. They're taking the next step and creating that relationship so that they can then apply. So one of the things I'm really, proud to say about this is when you think about the behavioral metrics. We talked about behavioral intelligence. So a key differentiator of this marketing automation is the algorithms that's built in there. Why is this important? This scoring lets your counselors know how to prioritize and where to prioritize. So based upon what someone's been engaging with, I know it's important to them and when it was important to them, which enables that next conversation to be relevant. That enables that triggered email to be relevant. And that goes into the dynamic content. So based upon my behavior, right, I was a history major. Heather, I think, was a communications and marketing major. What we experience and what we see is different, right? And the results are inspiring, whether it's a 10% application rate of one of our partner institutions or a 17% click-through rate. That means the students, 17% of them not only clicked on it, but of that group, they took action. They took action and converted. Everything we do, the foundation of our platform, but this relationship, this model is about measuring everything, every day, every week, every quarter, because we have shared goals. Furthermore, that measurement is presented to you in interactive analytics. So you're able to see what campaigns are performing, how well they're performing, right? We do a variety of campaigns. We have digital advertising campaigns that might be, via social media, or maybe they're via a different type of targeting. We'll talk about that. But you need to know how they're performing real time. You need to know how they're performing on a monthly basis by program type, by influencer. Engage lets you see that. It's three critical components. it's the metrics, it's dynamic content based upon my behavior so I can take the appropriate action. And lastly, it's interactive analytics at every level, whether it's for the VP of enrollment, to the director of admissions, the director of marketing, so we can get an understanding of what's resonating and what's successful. Heather, what did I miss? Because Engage is so rich in everything it can do.
Oh my gosh. For those that have had a moment of sparked interest, I encourage you to get in touch with us so we can show you Engage. It is robust, Len. What it can provide for prospective students and their families during the recruitment process, in addition to, right, all of the powerful analytics that it provides to enrollment and marketing teams on campuses, is hard to fit onto one slide, right? Our partners, Len, as I was talking with a few of them last week, just about Engage and how they've been using it in-house. One of the powerful things that they talked about is that the behavioral analytics that are combined into a really digestible couple of scores for their team to use, have allowed their counselors to be far more responsive, right? To be able to really prioritize their time. And let's be honest, Len, we're working with, in the recruitment process, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds who aren't always forthcoming about what they're thinking about right now. So we can allow their behavior to tell us the story of what they need. And so that's been a powerful moment for many of our partners as they have been shifting and changing the way they think about recruitment with Engage.
One of the things I just think about one of our partners, I think about Mars Hill University and the success they had with dynamic content and being able to have over an 8% conversion rate of not of what people who viewed the information, but then 8% engaged and converted to the next step, right? It's every one of those interactions that we like to measure. And we knew the population that would resonate with. So it's really important with everything we do. If you could take anything out of today's conversation, is our institutions serve a diverse population. So when we think about conversion, we measure conversion beyond just the prospective student, but also the influencers, because we're striving towards that application goal. And we realize so conversion's a really broad term that we use. And it's important to realize when we think about that and measurement, it's more than just the student conversion.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more about the search process in a bit, but I would be remiss if I left this off the table, in that as we think about lead generation, right? Through our progressive identification forms, which is one of those dynamic content elements in Engage, our partners are experiencing, of the forms submitted, about 70 to 75% of those leads generated are new to them. So they're not names purchased, right? They're not folks that they are meeting in virtual now college fairs, but they are new prospects who are showing an affinity for the institution that otherwise would have been invisible to the recruitment teams. So I think that's a really wonderful, powerful tool for enrollment shops today, especially in this environment.
And it's just one of many that they have access to.
Absolutely. Let's keep going through the platform.
No, understood. And as we talked about within the platform, Engage, as part of this offering, is Apply, which is the predictive model that complements Engage. And why is this so important? Because this is going to provide us insight to which groups have the likelihood to apply. And not only the likelihood to apply, you understand about the individuals, a little bit more about those applicants. This then helps us then determine how should we then allocate our marketing spend, right? Our digital advertising spend. What's the secondary communication that we're now going to introduce, whether it's via email or other triggered content? So we feel like this is a critical differentiator and a critical component for institutions to have access to. You not only want to know who's got the greatest likelihood to apply, but what's going to be the message that resonates. Why is this important? Well, one, when we think about our brochures, we don't want to send out 40,000 brochures or 50,000 brochures. When you send out 5,000 brochures, you reduce your print cost, in some cases, by 60%. You're able to have a target audience that appreciates it with a higher conversion. Those lower deciles, we might want to think separately with a specialized digital advertising campaign. So this enables you to segment populations and then communicate in measured modalities, right? I was just looking for an alliteration, so my apologies, right? I'm like in alliteration mode lately. But that's important because when we think about what's happened, we have to be more strategic with our funds.
Absolutely.
And everything we invest, those dollars are critical. Our institution's expecting us to be good stewards of the dollars. And they also want results. And so this is why we leverage predictive modeling. And in turn, we then generate higher conversion rates.
Absolutely. And each of these components of the platform are powerful in and of themselves. But when you start combining, so using the notion of behavioral intelligence to inform those applicant prediction scores with also the behavior or the engagement level of a particular prospect within the pool, we start to see a really robust, holistic picture of a particular prospect and how an institution can engage with them in a way that is meaningful, right? And productive or efficient. To your point, Len, I don't know that there's anyone who's watching today or even in my own career prior to this time who doesn't want to make sure that we're spending our dollars appropriately.
And what makes our apply model so unique, and one of the key differentiators that's still the only one in the industry, is that we're not using 40-something variables. We use almost 800 variables in the model with 3 to 5 years of data, coupled with it benefits from the machine learning and the behavioral intelligence. We have over 90 million profiles, right? And so as the model continues to learn, it even still has applicability in this era of COVID, right? Yeah. Because this is still, there are still elements and activities and actions that generate conversion. And the conversion to applicant is today one of those key conversions that we're talking about. And this is the only application model out there with the machine learning, and one that's readily accessible to both the VP of Enrollment to the Director of Admissions throughout their relationship with us. This is not something that occurs once a quarter and then you're never able to engage with it. This is something that we run together and that you have access to.
Absolutely. So, Len, we've talked about Engage, which lets us really identify prospects in the institution's web environment, right? Communicate with them in real time based on their behavior to move them through the conversion process, whether that's at least today, right, focused on the conversion to application, or in the future through the yield process and ultimately enroll, right? We've talked about Apply that allows us to utilize machine learning technology, the behavioral insights from Engage to show who from your prospect pool is most likely to apply. So everything from personalized communication with prospects, resource management, time management of our teams where we all know that there's not enough of it. All of that creates behavioral intelligence. It's behavioral intelligence from Capture that powers all of the different marketing solutions that we're going to hop into. Should we go ahead and start from the top? The very first, start at the very beginning, right? We have the first step in recruitment process is really going through the search process, right? Traditionally and historically, most institutions are sourcing names from College Board, ACT, and RCCUA, those test takers. COVID has changed the way that we think about this. Not that there are no longer test takers, because there are. And in fact, we leverage the machine learning technologies that we built for our predictive models with Apply, Aid, and Enroll. And we've applied them, right? We've implemented them in the search process. So a little bit of the art and science, if you will. And we've got the science of machine learning, understanding that it is very important to find the right students who are likely to convert in the future when you're purchasing search or any sort of lead data. And then the art part of this and the managed service element of having our account executives who are former enrollment managers, former directors of admissions, former marketers, et cetera, who are really honing in on the search design and the lead generation for our partners. You can see a ton of stuff that we include within our search modeling. The beautiful thing is that you don't have to lift a finger. Our team designs all of the variables, all of the search parameters. There's a quick review and approval process, and then we go ahead and go get those names so that we can begin marketing to them. Len, what did I miss about search?
I just really think what's important is the number of data elements and how we apply this within our algorithm and the success that we have, because this then allows for effective segmentation. And that segmentation then enables the platform to communicate with relevance to each of those students based upon how we segmented them. And that's where the power, it's beyond just anyone can get a list of names, but it's being able to assess the data variables, put it into an algorithm, so that then the machine and the platform, with the guidance of your account executive, to say, here's going to be the automated triggered workflow. So it's like having a virtual counselor, but one that knows what's important to that student when they need it and when they want it.
Absolutely. Beyond the traditional name sources that have been around in the industry forever, we've also developed business partnerships with other companies that are sourcing highly interested students in order to supplement the concern, the worry, right, about the volume of prospects that are available for recruitment. As we think about, we've loaded in, we've created a prospect pool, a lead pool, a suspect pool, whatever term you use.
And then I would be remiss not to say, so obviously people, we load in that suspect pool, but also all those suspects that we identify because of our own platform, as we identify them, they're all going into this pool. So, this becomes a really robust pool, and now we can be successful. And it's a pool that we know it's important to them. And when's it important so we can have the right students? Sorry.
No, that's okay. I love it when you get on the soapbox of the right student.
It's the right.
It's the right student because we need to make sure that we're using all of our resources appropriately, right? It isn't just about volume, to your point, Len. It is really being smart about how we source students and how we communicate with them in order to get the conversions for our partners that they need to be successful in the end. And so as we design search, right, which is one element of what we do, in addition to your point, Len, of the prospecting that's happening through Engage with the folks that are right there on your website, we begin using multiple marketing channels. For the purposes of outcomes-based pricing, we're going to focus on our behavioral email, which we'll talk about, our digital advertising and digital marketing, right? And that's all powered by that behavioral intelligence, the understanding of the behavior of prospects and their families, what they're thinking right now, what's important to them, combined with what they're likely to do in the future, right? We use these tools inside. Our operations team is using the apply model for every partner that we're looking for or working with, rather. So let's get to it. We have our behavioral email series. Obviously, email is still a channel that we need to use in order to connect with students, but not every single student wants to engage in that particular channel. And so our team has built what we've labeled the behavioral email series. And what it is focused on is making sure that we're communicating in the right channel with the right students, right? So we've sourced them through our search process. And now we want to make sure that we're delivering the message that they need to hear via the channel that they want to receive it. I think one of the really powerful things, Len, that we've done through time with a channel that's been around forever, right? Email, is that our technology allows us to ensure that we're communicating and reporting results on students, not bots. Right.
Right.
The open rates are real. When we show that someone has opened an email, we know that it's a person that's opened it. The person has clicked. The person has engaged with this particular channel. And if they're not engaging, we recognize that it's not awesome to spam them. And so we need to stop communicating with them at a period of time that makes sense when we know that they're not leveraging the channel to receive information from the institution. Len, I know that you've been really involved as we've developed this part of our offerings. What else do we need to highlight?
I think what's also is the fact that we're able to tailor it based upon how you've segmented your inquiry pool. Absolutely. And that to me is important because too often we send out a general email and the subsequent, but the ability to have that segmentation ensures that you communicate with relevance and knowing what's important, but also knowing when maybe a student no longer wants to engage. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. So now the students that do want to engage, or the influencers, we're now able to generate the higher conversion rates. And because of that, have a higher application rate, which then leads to the higher yield rate. And I think you've said everything is measured. I'm humbled by the level of transparency. And the reason being, because this is a shared partnership. If something isn't resonating or generating to the success metrics that we've determined, then let's assess together, reconfigure in order for us to achieve together. That's the other reason. Transparency is the foundation of success.
Absolutely. And I think in the relationship that we are redefining today with outcomes-based pricing, that is even more critical, right? We're going to talk about the structure of the actual pricing model near to the end. But rest assured, our team of experts, right? Our account executives, our project managers, our communications specialists, our writers, our content developers, our graphic designers, and our analysts are focused on creating communications that match and mirror your brand, that resonate your voice into the market. And so throughout that process, there is iteration and assessment, Len, to your point, and we make it all available visually in real time through our dashboards and Engage. So no more guessing, no more waiting for a monthly or quarterly or year-end report to know how the campaigns are running. We made a commitment to the industry to be transparent and accountable, and we deliver that through Engage. So that's email, right? So we've got our prospect pool. We've begun communicating through this channel. We're using behavioral data to ensure that we're communicating in the right channels with the right messages. And we also have our whole suite of digital advertising and social marketing tools. We all know that this consumer age group, right, are in the digital spaces. This was true even prior to COVID. But now it is more important that you have a robust strategy of how to virtually engage, right? To virtually deliver your message when you can't do that in person or on campus. And so we have 3 tools that we leverage throughout our search to application campaigns. They are our targeting tools, our social marketing tools, and our retargeting tools, right? The basics of good practice in digital advertising and social marketing. We want to make sure that we're using our targeting tools. These are record level tools, so we can ensure that we're delivering digital advertising to particular individuals, in this case, based on their email address and the footprint that it leaves in the interwebs, if you will. The social marketing allows us to find more students, right, that meet the profile of individuals that are likely to convert for you. We do those in the social channels with Facebook and Instagram. That allows us to find more, right? We can change call to action depending on where we are in the cycle. And then we're pushing everyone into the web environment for them to be able to be identified, right? And to receive the communication that Engage is providing based on their behavior on the website in real time. That's all to supplement the awesome things that the admissions teams are doing with the prospects in real time as well. So we want to follow all of that in a full loop of digital advertising and making sure that we deploy retargeting so that as a prospect or a family member or an influencer departs the website, we follow them and continue to keep your brand in front of them and bring them back into the conversation within your web environment. So what we see again, Len, just as a recap, right? We've got our platform. The 2 components within the outcomes-based pricing model are Engage and Apply, which create behavioral intelligence that is powering, that data is powering traditional marketing channels, starting with the search process, identifying individuals for purchase, developing a robust marketing, multi-channel campaign, moving from search all the way to the point of application, using tools like our behavioral email series, and digital and social marketing. This is the package, right? This is what's in the box. I'm certain, as we have talked for over half an hour now, that folks are itching to really hear about the outcomes-based pricing part.
Yep.
So can you lead us into a description of how this is going to work?
I'd be delighted to. I think what's important to note is that, one, as Heather mentions, for a particular period of the funnel, to identify, to apply. And it's quite simple. There is just a baseline subscription fee, and then there's a price per submit application based upon the type of student or prospect that's submitted. Why do we make it that simple? We believe that all resources and whatever is needed needs to be devoted, whether it's to obtain the right names, to launch the right types of digital campaigns, to exercise the right model, right, and the number of models, and to continue to do so, because we both are sharing that same North Star. Furthermore, institutions need predictability. Our resources are scarce. That's revenue. Our staff time is scarce, right? We also, it's scarce on what we can do in our, just sometimes in our own capabilities. So we want to have simplicity in the model. It's just a base subscription fee and then a per fee for every application submitted. And there's probably questions on what that is. And you know what? That is a great time to contact us. We have individuals that are assigned to each of the schools that qualify for this program, and that they would be able to help you out in answering your questions. Furthermore, for those of you that are asking questions today, both privately and publicly, we'll also be getting back to you to answer those questions and send you the appropriate response. Heather, was there something I missed in regarding the framework of the price?
I don't think so, Len. I'm so excited to be able to bring this to the industry that raised me as a professional, to meet them where they are and the challenges that they're experiencing, and to change the relationship, right, between a vendor and an institution. I hope that this changes the dialogue, right, that we can have conversations about the accountability of being a vendor partner. And that when we perform and you win, we win together. And so outcomes-based pricing is just a wonderful moment, I think, in my own career, our company, and our commitment to the industry.
I also say it's just a further extension of what we always believe in, what we've always believed in at Capture.
Absolutely.
We believe in the power of data. And data is more than just whether it's 700 plus variables for a predictive model, but it's also the power of the data to demonstrate, are we producing the results that you expect? And that data is critical. Are we meeting the milestones that we both have agreed to and that you expect? That's also our commitment to data and our commitment as a company to continue to innovate and to continue to deliver so every student has an opportunity, right? Is this the right institution for me? And every institution has the opportunity to get the right student. Because when we get this story right, we're able to impact our society and both parties. And we are humbled to be part of solving this problem for our clients.
Absolutely. Well, gang, thank you so much for joining us. As Len mentioned, for those of you who submitted questions, we'll pull those together and get responses out. Thank you so much.
And also, if you have a question, don't forget you can contact us, and that we will also be able to have one of our specialists reach out to you.
Absolutely. Well, Len, I think it's a wrap.
Happy Veterans Day, everyone, and thank you for your time.
Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
Take care.